see. I want to talk Taylor Lorenz and I want to talk Elon Musk. That's going to take a minute. I bet we can power through those quickly, though, and then we'll take a break after that.
Okay.
So let's do that. By now, everybody's familiar with the Taylor Lorenz versus Libs of TikTok story and the Washington Post story. So I'm not going to go through all the facts because people know that. But there are a few leftovers I think are worth talking about. And of course, Taylor Lorenz, fresh off the MSNBC interview a few weeks ago that we talked about on the show, where she was sad and crying that people were calling her a C word on Twitter. And we had said, well, maybe you should consider just stop being a C word for 5 seconds and see what happens. She couldn't help herself. She writes a hit piece for the ages about Libs of TikTok in the Washington Post. She doxed the account owner. She threatened Associated People with critical news coverage. She showed up in person, masked outside at the doors of the account owner's family members. And she did outright dox the owner of the Libs of TikTok account. The original article named first and last name, named the owner of the Libs of TikTok account and linked to a record of her real estate license information in New York. She lives in LA now, but it was valid real estate license information, complete with address and contact information and full name in New York. The Washington Post then went back and deleted the link. So it's just gone out of the story now. And as far as I can tell, that was a stealth edit. There's no mention of that change
right. Yeah. Well,
in any kind of editor's note. Shocking. And then they did what? They just denied that any of that ever happened. So they didn't explain why they decided to remove the link. And the Washington Post put out a statement defending Lorenz, saying, quote, Taylor Lorenz is a diligent and accomplished journalist whose reporting methods comport entirely with Washington Post professional standards. This spokesperson added an outright denial of the doxing, quote, we did not publish or link to any details about her personal life, her being the owner of the Libs of TikTok account. But it's right there in the archive. Undeniable. Yet they deny.
God, we need to lie more.
Blonde learning lessons from these people, as always.
I am. This is just outrageous.
Just lie and back away. They're experts at it. Another piece of this story, speaking of archives, at least one of the Internet Archive services is protecting Taylor Lorenz by limiting your ability to use it for this story. The Wayback Machine.
This is the whole point of the Wayback Machine.
Yes. They refused to archive Taylor Lorenz's Twitter feed this week. If you tried it, the Wayback Machine returned the message, sorry, this URL has been excluded from the Wayback Machine.
Why? Why would they lie?
Have you ever seen a
404 message?
Yeah, I mean, you could hide it, but they're kind of open about it. You're right. I'm surprised they didn't hide it. I've never seen a message like that on the Wayback Machine. Internet Archive and the Wayback Machine's stated mission is, quote, to provide universal access to knowledge, just not that knowledge and just not you. I've not been able to find additional comment or explanation from the Internet Archive on this matter. As of this afternoon, the Wayback Machine still returns the same message when I tried it. And I've tried other Twitter feeds. They work just fine. And I'll also note that it's not just the archive of Lorenz's whole Twitter feed that doesn't work. I tried to archive individual tweets of hers.
And nothing.
I got the same system refusal for just individual tweets. Now, of course, as part of the doxing and threatening that happened, there were uninvolved people who were threatened as well. Just people who actually had no association or loose association. But in at least one case, Taylor Lorenz emailed an uninvolved person with a threat. According to Libs of TikTok, there was a similar account that is not hers, but Lorenz believed this person to be an admin of the Libs of TikTok account. Yeah. And Lorenz messaged this uninvolved person and said, is that your account? Please let me know ASAP because you're being implicated as starting a hate campaign against LGBTQ people. So you better respond to me or I'm going to implicate you as hateful.
Is anyone going to stop her?
Well, someone's got to. I don't know how we do this, but someone's got to. Maybe she'll stop herself eventually. But additionally, there was a woman who had the same name as the Libs of TikTok account owner. It's a fairly common name, I guess. And she met the mob's wrath. Even though she's completely uninvolved, this woman is a stay-at-home mom who has an Instagram account that posts mom content, and she was bombarded with hundreds of angry messages when the article came out. The woman had to hire security at her parents' home address because that was posted online. And the woman was also wrongly messaged by Taylor Lorenz last weekend until Lorenz realized it wasn't the right person. But this woman says she responded to a pushy Taylor Lorenz saying, please leave me alone. I'm not that person. And Lorenz was insistent until she figured it out.
My gosh.
Now, of course, don't forget the real victim in all of this. That's Taylor Lorenz. Yeah. She tweeted, the amount of insane stuff that's happened to me over the last 24 hours has been unbelievable. It's eye-opening to see how sophisticated and vicious these coordinated attacks have become. I'm grateful to work at a company that takes these issues seriously and is supportive. She also appeared on CNN's Reliable Sources with Brian Stelter this morning to say that she's the victim of a right-wing attack on journalism.
The thing is, the right-wing media will lie, right? They kind of just will spin up these narratives. The goal is to sow doubt and to discredit journalism. You know, Brian, so much of what I do is try and educate people about the mechanics of these online outrage cycles and harassment, and sort of educate news organizations on how to cover it and how to understand bad faith attacks. And so I think it's really important as, us members of the media who cover media to recognize bad faith attacks when they're levied.
Educate. That's how you know somebody's full of shit, when they're trying to educate you.
Yeah, it's always
What
this
a
patronizing
smug bitch. Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird, these outrage cycles that she educates us about. It's weird how those outrage and harassment cycles always correspond with her aggressive action. I wonder what would happen if she just stopped initiating the outrage cycle. Now, as part of this interview, she also said that finding Libs of TikTok's identity was important to confirm that she is not, in fact, a foreign actor. See, Taylor Lorenz is just watching out for foreign infiltration on our behalf. Now, even though, of course, Taylor Lorenz could have confirmed the identity herself and not published the personal information that had no relevance to the rest of the story. And even though Taylor Lorenz's own work appears to have been assisted by foreign funding, or at least tangential foreign funding, much of the research that went into the doxing was done by a former Twitter employee who is working on a hate speech tracker project that is funded in part by the German federal government. So concerned about foreign influence. I'm sure.
These people. We could really learn a lot from this, though. All of the women on the right, we should be defending our image by acting like we're emotionally frail.
It is effective, I guess.
It seems effective. I mean, how much hatred does she have on the left?
I think it's the opposite. She's viewed as a heroine.
Do you think she's actually viewed as a heroine on the left? I think she's well tolerated.
Well, that's an interesting question. I think that she's publicly virtue signaled as a heroine, but do people actually like her in their private minds?
No, surely not, right?
Two separate things, I suppose.
And lying to people's faces seems also to be very effective. People on the right, come on. Don't let your morals get in the way of protecting yourself.
I'm going to stop short of endorsing that, but I suppose, I mean, it seems like that's the game they want. Just a lie contest. We gotta beat them in the lie world. Anyway. The end result, though, of course, is always the Streisand effect. Lorenz, because of Lorenz, Libs of TikTok's Twitter account has surged to 950,000 followers. It's an increase of 300,000 since the publication of the story. So
I love that they're going after this Libs of TikTok account because it's presented without comment. I mean, it's just recirculating existing videos without comment.
They keep calling it harassment, and I follow the account, and I've sourced a lot of material we've played on the show from that account.
Oh, yeah.
Almost never does the tweet include disparaging commentary. And if it is, it's very gentle. It is almost always video clip, fair description of video clip. That's it.
Yep.
It's I've never even seen tweets that are like, look at this loser and then go find him and make fun of him.
Never.
Even though in a lot of cases that's probably deserved because this loser is saying, I have a right to your kids and I'm going to teach them about anal sex. Yeah. Anyway, so it looks like this will actually work out for Libs of TikTok, and Taylor Lorenz will accomplish exactly the opposite of her stated goal, which was to minimize harassment of the people featured on the account. Well, the people featured on the account are about to get much more feature thanks to Taylor Lorenz's intervention.